Hey, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Call Halal Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Baha, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, the great millstone, peace and blessings to the Akim pushing this word in truth and sincerity. Shalom. This is Matthew from the GMS Dallas camp, and wanted to go into a quick lesson. As you see, I pulled up cargo slave ships through google.com, and it shows you the different depictions, images of the transatlantic slave trade. And you can just see how everyone will be all up in here. You know what I'm saying? Just piled up together. And this trip, I want to say it was it took a good time. I want to say 144, back to 144. But it took some time. It wasn't like a day or a week trip. So you had Jake just piled up on each other. You see him over here. They're throwing Jake into the water. You know, as it says, the water, the trail where the boats that were traveling from the coast, the west coast of Africa, over here to the shores of uh, um, here in the Americas, over in the West. You still have sharks to this day go back and forth, trailing that same, going in that same path, okay? Because there was so much blood that was spilled, okay? So much death, okay? So they knew they were gonna have food there because blood was gonna be trailed through there. So look how long that's been. You still have that happening today. That can show you the atrocity that Esau have done. Show you the things they have done to the nation of Israel. And yes, who are on the cargo slave ships in the transatlantic slave trades are a portion of the nation of Israel. Because the northern kingdom was already over here. All right. And this is actually in the scriptures. All right. What group or nation of people went through this type of slavery? Okay. Look at that. It's like an animal, right? That's it. They don't even deem us as full as humans, as full humans. And when I say they, I'm talking about Esau. I'm talking about the so-called white man. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and get a scripture here. Matter of fact, let's get one. Then we'll continue reading this. I see you don't want to pull up, did it? Because what we're seeing is now our people have to realize who Esau is really finna about to put the smack down on. And that is the nation of Israel, the so-called Black, Latinos, Native Americans. And his hatred goes all the way back during the time of the garden, and then also during the time of Jacob and Esau. That hatred has been a perpetual hatred throughout the generations and generations. Okay? This is Deuteronomy. Oh, Slacky. Yeah, this is Deuteronomy. Dang, come on, man. Deuteronomy 28. In verse, we'll scroll on down. What does it say? And everything was working. Deuteronomy 28 and 68. Right here. And it says, and Yahweh shall bring thee, and who he's talking about, the nation of Israel, okay, into Egypt again with ships by way of I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there shall ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bond men and bond women, and no man shall buy you. Okay, so we'll be sold to our enemies as bondmen and bondwomen. All right, and we're gonna come back to that. And no man shall buy you. That means no man shall redeem you. No man will recover you. Okay, like Nat Turner, he wasn't prophesied to deliver us, not a regular man. Okay, it's gonna be divine intervention that we need to actually be delivered out of this hellhole that we're in, which is the whole earth right now, because the earth was given to the hands of the wicked, pursuant to Job 9:24. And who is the wicked upon the earth? That is Esau Edom. Okay, and we were sold to our we were sold to our enemies, the bond men and bond women. Okay, and we'll come back to that. I want to go ahead and get this here. This is the transatlantic slave trade. It says the transatlantic slave trade. The Atlantic slave trade, transatlantic slave trade, or Euro-American slave trade involved the transportation of slave traders or various enslaved African people, which we know we were off in Africa, but we're not the Africans. We're not no damn Hamites. Okay, we're Israelites. Okay, we fled off into the continent of Africa after being persecuted. Okay, during the time of 70 AD, we traveled down through the coast of or to the down in Africa. Okay, but like the Lord said back here, we would be taken by ships again in Egypt. Okay, has that happened anytime? No. So we're not taking the. It didn't. We didn't go into literal Egypt. We walked down in Egypt during the 70 AD. Well, that's going into. It's here in America. Okay, Sodom and Egypt. But let's keep going. It says various enslaved African people, mainly to the Americas, aka Babylon the Great, aka Sodom and Egypt, the Americas. Okay, the slave trade regularly used the triangular trade route in its middle passage and existed from the 16th century to the 19th century. Okay, you see that? 3 centuries of just constant slave trade. I don't, and I'm sure it didn't stop. It probably was a little bit after that as well. Okay, so you gotta. This is something that is in the history, but they don't want to tell you about it. And also, when we go into our history, they only go to the time of the 14 to 1600s. They never can go back that far, because why? If you go back further than the transatlantic slave trade, you're gonna see where we actually derived from. We came off and went off into Africa, and I'm talking about the Southern Kingdom. Okay, the ones that they call the so-called Negroes. All right, like I said here, it says in Deuteronomy 28:68, "Thou shalt see it no more again." What is this talking about? The land, and it says, "There shall ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen." And we were sold to who? We were sold to the so-called white man. And how can we prove that? Let's go to this is Joel 3, and I'm gonna start at verse 5. It says, "Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into the temples my goodly pleasant things, the children also of Judah, okay, and and the children of Jerusalem, okay, ye have sold unto the Grecians." And who were the Grecians? Those were the Edomites, okay, that ye might remove them far from their border. And we have been removed from our borders, okay. We were sold to we were sold unto the enemies, which were the Grecians, which is the so-called white man. And him and the other heathen nations took a pact to keep us at a low estate, especially after the cargo slave trade and things like that. Everybody have got riches except you so-called black Latinos and Native Americans. They have stole our land. They have stolen. This is the biggest stolen identity in history, saying that we are not the Israelites. Okay, that is a slap in the face, especially when you know the truth and know who you really are. That's why we need divine intervention because they have had this big lead on it for so many years, for centuries. That you see, if we go back here, what did it say? It said for centuries, for uh, this route, triangular route in the Middle Passage, that it and existed from the 16th to the 19th centuries. That is terrible. Because why? We went off. We were doing bad. So the Lord sold us to our enemies. Right? It's like it. And who did he sell us to? And who he sell us to? It says, and I will sell your sons and your daughters. Slaki. Let me go on up. It said, the children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold to the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their borders. Behold, I will raise them out of their place, whether ye have sold them. And this is what's about to happen. Okay? And will return your recompense upon your own head. And this is what's going to happen to Esau. He's going to have that recompense returned upon his own head. All right? As it says, ye are he's sort of displeased with the heathen when you go into Zechariah 1 and 15. Okay, and who are the heathen? Your enemies. Going into Psalms 83, you go into it start breaking down who your enemies are, starting with the nation of Edom. Okay, so all this is going to happen. This recompense is coming back on Edom. Okay, and that recompense is going to come back, and it's going to basically be a righteous order, and they're going to come back, and the recompense is going to happen because of the atrocities of things like this. Okay, what they call the nation of Israel. So with that, you know, um, I'd like to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Bahakadash, double honors to the apostle of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the Icon pushing his word in truth and sincerity. Shalom.